Narrative exploration games, or as they're colloquially referred to as walking simulators, are my jam. Being able to sit down for a couple of hours, take in a succinct story, and get out is exactly the kind of palate-cleansing experience I need between more robust titles. And Hollow Tree Games' Shape of the World ticks all of those boxes on paper! But besides its gorgeous aesthetic, it fails to provide much else. Shape of the World begins appropriately enough, in a bright, white area with no direction and no objective and no real indicator as to the game having even started. You're just there. And there I sat for a few seconds before I realized I should probably get moving. Being totally objectiveless, I was in awe as the world began constructing around me. The polygonal art style and bright, contrasting colors make the world pop and usher you into a game that upon first glance looks and feels wholly unique and special. Even the rudimentary control setup lends itself to Shape of the World's 1 to 3 hour escape from work, anxiety, and stress. Aside from using the left and right stick to move around, your only other actions are jumping, which isn't entirely necessary, or using R2 to interact with certain objects, to create stairs to explore new paths, or L2 to plant some trees. Interacting with the trees serves as an accelerator as they propel you further and faster, which is nice considering how slow you move, while also adding a few complimentary notes to the already great soundtrack. And don't worry about destroying the trees around you, they'll grow back. The whole point of Shape of the World is to just move from one objective marker, these little triangle guys, to the next. Passing through them propels you, sometimes quite literally, into a new environment with a new color palette, and new creatures, and sometimes a new area altogether. And you don't even have to worry about the creatures. You don't take any damage. They're more for just filling out the pause menu's catalog. However, there's these fat blob-looking guys that have no problem just slamming into you and knocking you off ledges for really no reason. You compound that with how much faster you move up the steps that you summon, making it entirely possible for you to fall off those, and starting at the base again gets a little frustrating. While Shape of the World's aesthetic feels entirely unique and awe-inspiring, it isn't enough to just sustain and carry it. As the colors change, you're bound to run into one that is less than appealing, like this weird yellow-green-brown combination I ran into that was just nauseating. Because the design is intentionally limited and without objective, it's also entirely possible to get turned around or run into walls while you watch your surroundings clip through them, creating the illusion that you might be able to pass through to get to the next marker. You can't, and you just end up in a sea of monochromatic frustration. It's also entirely possible in some areas that while you're around water, you can get stuck, get dizzyingly turned around, have this ring show up, or just move slower than you already were while rendering your jump mechanic obsolete. The other issue is its length, and not even that it's too short. Lasting just under 2 hours, a few areas of Shape of the World felt padded. I found myself in areas that I had explored prior and interacting with the same objects, only to get closer to another marker that took me through to the exact same place. I wanted to see this to its end, but at points it was because I thought it should have ended already. As a piece of art, Shape of the World is something you should absolutely experience, but as a game, it's an ambitious narrative exploration whose reach ultimately exceeds its grasp. It provides mostly breathtaking visuals and a magnificent soundtrack, but is mired with design flaws and an overarching narrative that, despite only clocking in around 2 hours, feels like a friend that overstayed their welcome. All things considered, I give Shape of the World a 6.8 out of 10.